Yes, yeah, that was that show. That was a cool show. I have photos from that.
I remember one of my favorite moves as a front person that you did was you went along like because there's no stage, so people are just kind of standing in a row watching the band play,
Right.
and you just went to like each person and like shook their hand like profusely, and like just went down the line, just shaking their hands and like kind of like convulsing your head as you're
Oh
doing it,
God.
just like oh thank you.
Yeah.
That felt like a very Mike Park like stage move too.
Oh, he influenced so many bad behaviors. Like
Like what? Give us some bad Mike behaviors that you have.
Mike, his anxiety trickled into me. So, it was like I all of a sudden felt like everything had to be incredibly rushed when you were going on stage. So I was such a jerk to everybody in the band, like, okay, we gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. And it's like, the drummer's setting up his kit. He's got to get it. He's about to play some gnarly stuff. Like it's gonna take him maybe 5 minutes, and I was like trying to get it up in 30 seconds, and like just bringing that kind of like um, punk rock ethos. And like Mike was totally like that, but I didn't catch wind to it until later, and I was like, oh, this guy like is just like rushing to play and rushing to get off. I mean, I love Mike. I'm trying not to Mike. Oh, he's gonna be such a punisher. But yeah, I remember like that's a pretty bad one. I had to like slow down, and I even think too, like early Chotto Ghetto stuff. I was like, I think he probably told me to like just go crazy all the time, and it pushed me into like a place of like going super crazy. Like I remember this one show we played in Long Island, and like I like took my pants off and I was wearing my boxers, and like I had a beer and I grabbed like cinnamon and I poured it on the beer, and I was like saying like baby wants a cappuccino, and I was just like, what the fuck am I like? I cringe at all of these moments because I'm just like, what? Like it's just it's like, but it's okay. It's totally okay. But that's like comes from this Mike Park got to push performance, skank a pickle kind of like, thing. And I remember there was a moment where I was like, especially with Chotto Ghetto, I just stopped moving a lot and I just really focused on chilling and playing, and I ended up being more powerful. I felt that way.
You could actually have enough air in your lungs to sing.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't like vomiting on the side of the stage.
In Defense of Ska will return in a moment.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
For some reason, I remember watching Chotto Ghetto once, and there you did like kind of this long in between song banter.
Okay.
Where you explained the concept of like how bands are like all bringing in ingredients, and how you explained it was like preparing a soup.
Okay.
And you went through each instrument and you explained how it was like what soup ingredient it was. It was a very like apt analogy to creating music. It's like creating soup.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think. Yeah, that's something. Yeah, something I probably said.
I just remembered we actually Aaron and I played one of the Stockton shows.
Yeah.
With Chotto Ghetto. I remember because we got giant burritos beforehand.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then my car broke down on the way there, and my friend AJ had to come get me, Andrew Junker, and drive me out to the show. And then during your set, one of your pieces of banter was you held up your hands. You were talking about these giant burritos that we'd gotten. and you were like, guess how big these burritos were, and then you started like moving your hands apart, but then you got past where the burrito actually was, and you were, well, actually it was this big. And AJ still quotes that to this day. Like if we go get burritos, he'll quote that line to me. You're famous.
Thank you.
You've impacted somebody's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that was the best. I mean, it was like absolutely the most fun. California is such a cool place because you can go and like tour a week in the state and play all kinds of different places, and it was always like a trip and always super fun. I remember that very well. I have photos from that day actually going and staying in your place. And then we played that show the night before, and then you're right. We played I can't remember all the beats to that, but I know we did a podcast. Chotto Ghetto did a podcast at your place, and I think it got lost or something like that. It never came out or something.
Yeah, the file got corrupted.
Right.
Speaking of states, though, California. Let's shift over to Hawaii. How many times have you and Mike Park been to Hawaii together?
I've been to Hawaii with Mike only twice, actually. It's only been twice.
Okay, more than once, though.
Definitely. First trip
Yeah.
was with the Bruce Lee band because kind of like a bench trumpet player. They let me play every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then the last time it was just like a trip. He was going over there with his buddy Johnny, who's my buddy too. And yeah, like those trips are like few and far between, but they're super fun because it's just like kind of got the punk rock element where you're like sleeping on a couch and you're just like kind of walking around Hawaii, and like, there's nothing more to them. It's like you're watching. I remember on that last trip, it was like Indecent Proposal. Is that the one, the Woody Harrelson movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that it, Aaron? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, where it's like Demi Moore and Robert Redford get together. I remember I'd never seen the movie, but like Johnny happened to have it on this random Hawaii movie channel. And so it's just like weird stuff happens and you're just watching this 90s, dramatic thriller and hanging out with like your ska buddies. It's such a hodgepodge, but it's cool. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It's just like a lot of fun and the best energy. And just like the thing I think a lot of people don't realize with Mike is really, as much as he moves around, he doesn't want to do shit. He likes to just chill. Like Mike's main thing is like, he loves like snacking, loves snacks, and loves watching TV and watching YouTube. He just wants to chill fully.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I remember when I lived in San Jose, I'd get together with him, and a lot of times it would just be like, let's walk, and we would just go on walks in random places.
Yeah.
And one time we were walking somewhere in downtown San Jose, and there was like some booth, they had food for some reason. I can't remember why, but somehow like we got free food from these people.
Of course.
Mike was just like, this is the greatest day of my life.
I've traveled. So like, I remember this is actually the moment I knew Mike was like uniquely himself and like uniquely a psycho. Like I worked for this guy, John Hagler, his name's Tito. Tito is a really accomplished front of house engineer, tour manager. He works a lot in that industry, and he started out in the San Pedro punk scene. So he knew all, he knows all the Toys That Kill guys and the FYP crew. I mean, same people, but like, so I started working for Tito as like a guitar tech, and we worked for this guy named Donovan Frankenreiter, who Donovan was on Jack Johnson's label, and it was like completely different from the punk rock world. And I thought working with Tito was going to be like working with Mike Park. I'm like, okay, here's like another dude who's going to be like kind of, it's going to be slim living. And I remember I get there and we were talking about food, and I was like, well, what do you want to get to eat? Like, are you like on a budget or something like that? And he's like, fuck that. He's like, I spend money on food. He's like, I'm not doing that Mike Park shit. And he was like just going into how Mike Park was crazy. He would be a great guy to get on the podcast if you really want to get Mike Park intel. Tito's the dude.
Mhm.